Have you ever felt like you're tired but cannot fully rest? Your body feels warm, especially at night. Your mind keeps going, but your energy is running low. You fall asleep but wake up again. And even when you rest, it doesn't feel like true recovery because something is missing. Not energy, but nourishment. In traditional Chinese medicine, not all fatigue is the same. Some people are tired because they lack energy. Others may be tired because their energy is stuck. But some people are tired because their body cannot hold and restore their energy. And today we're talking about that pattern, Yin Deficiency. Healing is like tending a garden, and in every video, we water the roots. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Amy, and today's wisdom comes from the heart of TCM. Now, before we talk about this body type, it is very important to know exactly what is Yin Deficiency. In traditional Chinese medicine, Yin represents fluid, cooling, nourishment, stillness, and recovery. If Yang is activity, then Yin is restoration. If Yang is fire, then Yin is water. Think of your body like it's a candle. The flame is your thoughts, your activity, your movement. This is Yang. The wax is what sustains that flame. Your fluids, your nourishment, your reserves. And this is Yin. When the wax is sufficient, the flame burns steadily. But if the flame burns too long, without enough wax to support it, it becomes unstable, it flickers, and it overheats. And eventually, it burns out. That instability is what Yin deficiency feels like in the body. So, when Yin is insufficient, your body loses its ability to cool itself, nourish itself, and settle itself. And this creates a very specific internal state: dryness, heat, and restlessness. Let's take this one step deeper. If you look at the world, everything begins with water. The ocean came first. From the ocean, moisture rises into the air. It forms clouds. It nourishes the land. It allows soil to become fertile and allow life to grow. In the body, the Yin is like the ocean. It is the original source of nourishment. And from that deep reservoir, everything else is supported: fluids, cooling, stability. So when that ocean becomes depleted, the entire environment begins to dry out. Now, Yin deficiency often feels like being tired but wired, warm but not strong, restless and not productive. You might notice dryness in your mouth or throat, especially at night. You may experience night sweats, interrupted sleep, or a feeling of warmth that becomes more noticeable in the evening. Some people have dry eyes, constipation, or a subtle sense that the body is running hot. Emotionally, there can be irritability, mental overactivity, and difficulty switching off. This is not just stress. This is a body that cannot cool down and restore itself. In clinical practice, Yin deficiency doesn't always turn out the same way. But the two most commonly seen patterns are kidney Yin deficiency and liver Yin deficiency. Kidney is your deep ocean, so your deepest reserves. It is your foundation of life, your long-term storage of fluids and essence. When this becomes depleted, you may experience night sweats, lower back weakness, poor sleep, or a deep sense of exhaustion that doesn't fully recover. Liver Yin is closely related to blood. In Chinese medicine, we say that liver stores blood. So when liver Yin is insufficient, the body loses its ability to nourish and regulate itself. This often shows up as dry eyes, occasional spasms, irritability, headaches, migraine, or a feeling of heat rising upwards within the body. Sometimes you may see both of these patterns occurring at the same time because our liver and kidney are both part of the lower jiao Therefore, when the foundation becomes depleted, the system above the middle and upper jaw will become unstable. Let me share an example. My grandmother, she sleeps at most 4 hours a night and always wakes up with complaints of dry throat with a bitter taste in her mouth, and she often feels warm. Her tongue is very red and slightly cracked, and she struggles with constipation. She also has dry eyes and spasms, especially at night. When she spoke to doctors, they tell her it's part of aging, and to some extent, that is very true. But that does not mean we can't support the body. So I made her something very, very simple, a nourishing combination of black wood ear and white wood ear, which is tremella, goji berries, chamomile, and a little bit of honey. This is a gentle and hydrating soup. Within the day, that night, she felt better. And the next day, she went to the bathroom like a regular person. Not because I gave her a miracle cure, but because we gave her body exactly what it was lacking: moisture, cooling, and nourishment. And this is what Yin deficiency looks like in real life. It is not a sudden illness, but a gradual pattern of dryness, heat, and depletion. And unfortunately, this pattern is very, very common today. People sleep late, rely on caffeine, work long hours, stay mentally stimulated for long hours as well, and rarely give them time to fully rest. But from the outside, everything looks super functional. But on the inside, your body is overworking and drying out. Interestingly, Yin deficiency is definitely not a new idea. It is a pattern that everyone will reach. However, those with body constitution that are more prone to Yin deficiency, they will struggle more. So in the Huangdi Neijing, which is one of the foundational classical texts of traditional Chinese medicine, there is a concept that woman develops in cycles of 7 and men cycles of 8. This means that when women are 7-year-old, 14 years old, 21 years old, 28 years old, the body is going through major developmental phases. And later, around the 7th of the 7th cycle, so around the late 40s to early 50s, the body naturally transitions into a different stage. This is where we often begin seeing dryness, sleep changes, heat sensations, emotional fluctuations, and menopausal symptoms. In TCM, this is understood as a gradual decline in yin and kidney essence over time. And honestly, I think that there's something very comforting about understanding this, because it reminds us that aging is not something unnatural. It is part of a body's rhythm, a transition, a different phase of life. But at that same time, how we support our body during that transition matters tremendously, because while change over time is natural, excessive depletion places unnecessary strain on the body. And this is why sleep matters, nourishment matters, stress management matters, and restoration matters even more as we age, especially for women. Because women spend many decades caring for others, overworking, sleeping late, pushing through exhaustion, and eventually the body is asking for deeper restoration, not through punishment, but through symptoms. And this is why understanding Yin is so important, especially during menopause and the years leading up to it. Now, this is where we need to be a little bit more precise, because sometimes what we feel may be a little bit misleading. For example, I shared in my Yang deficiency video a photo of myself with my colleagues. They were all wearing long sleeves and I was the only one in short sleeves. At first glance, one may think, oh, all my colleagues are Yang deficient. Or you may think, oh, I'm the one sticking out like a sore thumb, so it's my problem. I'm definitely yin deficient. But that is not always enough to confirm the pattern. In TCM, we have a very interesting concept of false presentation, which is why we don't just rely on one symptom. We look at the body as a whole. We look at the patterns that your body is telling us. And one of the most reliable signs is your tongue. Our yin deficient tongue is often red in color, and it may appear like it's thinner than normal, like it's wilting. The coating is usually reduced or even absent because yin relates to the fluids. When the fluids are low, the coating disappears. Sometimes the tongue may look dry, slightly cracked or peeled. Therefore, having these tongue appearances is a very classic sign of yin deficiency. So instead of guessing, I want you to see the full picture. Yin deficiency is likely when you consistently experience feeling of internal warmth, especially in the evening, dryness in the body, be it your skin, your throat, your eyes, or constipation, sleep that is light and or interrupted, and a sense of restlessness although you feel fatigue. When you combine this with a red tongue with no coating or thin coating, the pattern becomes much clearer. This is how we think in TCM, not just one symptom, but patterns. Now, food is medicine, so how can we nourish our yin naturally? I don't want to just give you a list. I want you to understand it and then identify it for yourself. In TCM, we often look at color and texture. Black foods are associated with the kidneys, which is your deep ocean. So when you see foods like black sesame, black beans, black wood ear, you can think of them as supporting deeper nourishment, aka your kidneys, your essence. And now texture is also important. In nourishing food are normally soft, moist, and kind of like jelly. They hydrate, lubricate, and restore fluids. Examples include black wood ear, tremella, pears, tofu, and soups. So instead of memorizing lists, ask yourself a simple question. Does this food hydrate me or dry me out? That alone will guide you very far. Now, how can we support yin? And this is something I think is very important for you to understand. For some people, supporting yin may be simple. They are just a little depleted. So when they start sleeping earlier, eating more nourishing foods, drinking more fluids, their body responds quickly. But for others, it's different. They've been depleted for a very long time. And this is where I use a very simple analogy. Imagine your body like a bowl. If the bowl is intact and you pour water in, it stays. But if there's a crack in the bowl, big or small, wide or narrow, it will start leaking, but at different speed. And this is what long-term yin deficiency looks like. It's not that some people are not trying. It's not that you are not drinking enough water. It's the system itself that cannot hold what you are giving. And we can take this one step further. Imagine a dry land. If the soil has been dry for a very long time, you can't pour water on it once and expect it to recover. The water runs off. It isn't absorbed because the entire environment needs to be restored first. And this is why some people feel better quickly and others need time, consistency, and deeper support. So let's talk about my grandmother. She's having very severe symptoms. Her yin deficiency pattern has been with her for a long time. She told me that when she was young, she worked non-stop to help her family support her other, I think it was 4 or 5 siblings. And even after marriage and giving birth to 3 boys, she told me she never stopped working. When menopause hit her, unfortunately, a lot of problems start arising because the pattern was not supported. So at her current age, she does need a longer time to restore her deficiency. All in all, we're not just adding water, we are rebuilding the system. And a system that has been broken for a very long time takes even more time to build the foundation and give it life again. The goal is not complicated. We want to restore moisture, reduce unnecessary heat, and allow the body to recover. And sleep is the most important. Yin is rebuilt at night. So consistently sleeping late will drain the yin. Food should be nourishing and hydrating, not overly stimulating or drying. Mental rest is also crucial. If your mind never settles, your body cannot restore. Movement should be a daily activity to keep the qi flowing. When your qi flows, the water flows along. Moving on to acupuncture, if there is a point that I want you to know, then it is Tai Chi. Tai Chi is one of the most important points for nourishing kidney yin. To find it, look at the inner side of your ankle. Place your finger at the highest point of your ankle bone, and then slide your finger slightly backwards towards your Achilles tendon. You will feel a small dip between the bone and the tendon. That is Tai Chi. Massage it for 1 to 2 minutes, and remember, consistency matters more than intensity. This point, because it deeply nourishes your yin, this point is especially helpful for improving sleep, reducing internal heat, and supporting the body's ability to restore itself. If you are listening to this and thinking, this sounds familiar, this sounds like me, that's a good thing, because now you understand your body better. And once you understand Yin Deficiency, you can support yourself and heal. So my darlings, if you're like me, an Yin Deficiency type, I want you to know that your body has been carrying you through everything that you have asked of it. And sometimes it simply needs a little bit more of attention and be supported in return. Not more effort, not more force, but more nourishment, more stillness, more balance. Healing is like tending a garden, and when the water returns, everything begins to soften, settle, and grow again. If this video helped you change the way you view your body, don't just stop at information. Apply just one thing today. The most important for Yin Deficiency is sleep earlier, preferably before 11 p.m. Start with one small shift and then come back and tell me what changed. Thank you so much for your time and your support. I will see you in the next video, and I wish you good health. And good health is the ultimate fortune and the only investment with endless return. And when do we start investing? Right now.